How's it going, guys? Caleb Thornton here, back with another video. Today we're going to be installing a paracord on the HyperX Pulsefire Haste. I figured I might as well just make a video as I'm normally paracording my mice, so you guys maybe have a reference, or if you're planning on paracording this, you'll have a video to look at, maybe to help you or give you an idea of how difficult it might be to do so. So we're going to go ahead and paracord this, and the paracord I'm going to be using today is from Lethal Gaming Gear, and I did do another video using one of their paracords, and I probably have about 3 of theirs right now, and I would say, guys, these things are super high quality. If you're thinking about getting a paracord, definitely check them out. I'll have them linked in the description down below. One of the best parts about it, of course, is just the fact that you get that 3D printed stress relief, which makes for an easy installation, also makes it look better too, and you don't have to worry about burning your mouse or messing up the installation of it when you're using something like a lighter right next to electronics, which can definitely mess things up. Stock cable on the HyperX Pulsefire Haste, really solid. You don't have to paracord it. I'll do a before and after as well, so you guys get an idea of the difference between it. Maybe you might not want to. For me personally, also makes an aesthetic change as far as just the looks of it, which I appreciate as well. But let's go ahead and hop into the actual process now. Alrighty guys, we're gonna start on the bottom of the mouse as we do with basically any paracord. We're gonna have to get this frame apart, and they're usually gonna place those screws beneath these feet. I obviously have not paracorded it before, being the fact that it still has a stock cable in it. So I'm not exactly sure where those screws are at, but it does come with a pair of replacement skates with the HyperX Pulsefire Haste. So even if we were to mess these up and there wasn't screws in there, we still have replacement feet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be. I'm just gonna use this razor blade right here and try my best with this to get them off. You can use anything though, like a screwdriver. You can even use your fingernails, just might be a little bit harder. Obviously be careful with metal on plastic because you're just gonna be a lot more likely to scratch the plastic frame up, so be careful if you don't wanna mess it up. Once you get an edge of the foot up though, you can kind of see right here, I got the edge of that foot up right there, and I'm just gonna grab it now and peel it up. All right, I'm gonna do the rest of them, then I'll be back with you guys. All right, now that I got all the feet off, you guys can see, I'll try to hold it up a little bit closer for you. The screws are in those little holes where the feet were at, and now that they're popped off, we can get access to those. As you can see, there is some residue left behind on some of them, and you'll just need to clean that up with like a little alcohol pad before we put the other feet on to make sure you actually get a good adhesion with adhesive material on the next feet, but we'll do that later. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these screws out, and then we'll try to pop the shell open to get inside. All right, this should be the last screw unless there happens to be one under the sticker, but it doesn't look like it. I will mention really quickly that if you have a magnetic screwdriver like I'm using, it makes it a lot easier. All right, so now the top shell is separating from that bottom one. And sometimes you gotta be careful because there'll be like an RGB ribbon, but on this, there is nothing attached to the top shell. It is just completely separate. So very easy to pull this one apart. And now we can get access to that cable that's already in here. Okay, there we go, yeah. So that little screw was holding that part in the front. Now that I popped it out, we can pop that right out of the front. All right guys, here's one more shot of it, a little bit closer up so you can see it better. Obviously the front of the mouse is right here. That's where the cable routes in with the stress relief, and then you're gonna route it around over to here, and it plugs into right there. The other shot, you couldn't see it the best, so I thought I'd get one more angle of it for you right here. So now we're gonna go ahead and install the other one. The only big difference I would say between this stress relief and the one that's 3D printed from Lethal Gaming Gear, if you guys can see that okay, is this one actually has like a screw hole on it, the stock one, whereas this one does not have a hole for it, but I think we'll still be able to put that screw in to hold it down. So let's go ahead and start installing the new paracord from Lethal Gaming Gear right here, and I'll show you guys literally how simple this is. You just take your front of the mouse right here, and then you have to stick it in, and it just pops right into place, just like that. It's that simple, and it fits right in because it's already 3D printed. You don't have to worry about shrink wrapping anything with the lighter and extra electronics, so really simple. I'll go ahead and just try to put the screw back in to see if it'll still hold it down. It looks like it might. All right, as you guys can see, screw holds it down just perfectly fine. Actually, just because it doesn't have the screw hole there, it still has a little flat part off to the side of it where the screw still holds it down, so it actually won't even move out, which is really nice. So even though it's not the stock and it doesn't have that screw hole, it still works just fine with the screw in there, and it actually holds it down really well. All right, so the last step now is just gonna route this wires back up to here and plug it back into the PCB itself, and then we'll basically all be done. This is a very simple paracord job. The only bad thing I would say about it is just the fact that these are loose. It makes it kind of hard to route them down here, but I'm gonna try my best to keep them in here. And you just really wanna make sure, like when you're putting the shell back on, that these aren't gonna get in the way of the shell, like on the edge right here. But I'll go ahead and try my best to route them down here. You guys just do the same when you're doing it. All right, so all you gotta do is literally just pop the shell back on. Really simple. As you can see, I'm just holding it together right now. It is loose though, and it would pop back off, but you can see the clicks feel fine. Scroll wheel feels good, and the paracord is all installed in the front there. You can see the stress relief coming out. It looks nice. All right, let's go ahead and get these screws back in, then we can put those other feet on and we should be good to go. All right, the screws are all back in. I would just give your clicks one more check just to make sure they feel fine, nothing's interfering with them, as well as maybe your DPI button and all that good stuff. It all feels good to me though, so that lets me know that there's nothing in the way of them on the inside of it right now. You might just want to check that before you put your skates back on, because you don't want to have to rip your skates back off and open it back up. But now what I'm going to do is just kind of clear off some of this residue right here, because that will kind of prohibit the other skates from adhering to it properly. And once it's cleaned off, it's literally going to be as simple as just slapping those skates on, and then you should be all good to go.